million by the end of the decade. Joining me live now is Liberal MP Katie Allen. I want to get to the policy, but voters would just, a lot of them have whiplash over the rhetoric last time and what's happened this time. So let me ask you this. When we heard Scott Morrison say last time that the electric vehicle was unable to tow your ute and that having a target, not a mandate of 50% vehicles being electric by 2030, that is new vehicles bought, would end the weekend. Was that ever accurate?
Well, I think at the end of the day, people are concerned about range anxiety and whether they can go a long way away. And I think he was referring in some ways to the fact that it's hard to get out for long distance in the past. EVs are changing and charging stations are becoming more available. So, people have been worried, can you get very far with your electric vehicle? They're no longer worrying about that. And that's because the batteries are improving for electric vehicles. Their range has improved from about 100k to now to 400 or 500k. I've got an EV myself. It's actually quite easy to do charging now. Lots of the private sector have stepped up and put more charging stations into Australia.
Right,
but of course, there are some hard to reach places and we need to make sure we get that out there, and that's what one of the parts of this announcement is not only public and private charging, but smart charging as well. So there are changes to technology, there's changes to the way that consumers are looking at electric vehicles, and these are very important changes that are happening incredibly rapidly across Australia.
The other element is that we're always going to happen before 2030 when Labor's policy kicked in. Anyway, we don't have a lot of time, so I won't dwell on that.
Well, it is
what
worth
about
saying,
vehicle
Tom,
emission
that
standards?
in our emissions... It is worth saying just in the Emissions Reduction Fund that was announced the day after I got pre-selected, there was in that program a view that we were going to have an electric vehicle strategy. So that was well before those comments. So I think it's been very clear, and the Prime Minister made it very clear
the comments were particularly
that he actually didn't believe
then.
in the policy.
That's all that says to me.
Well, he didn't believe in the policy of Labor. He believes in a policy that is about the liberal way of rolling this out. So that's what he's made very clear.
Was going to do these things. The target, not even a mandate, for 50% new vehicles by in the year 2030, new sales.
Well, I think the issue is things have changed in the last 2 to 3 years with regards to commercialisable, scalable outcomes for low emissions technology solutions, including vehicles and including fuels. And that's why we're pivoting to, at this point in time, it's about Australia embracing these new technologies for the future, and it's about a government enabling choice, not mandating outcomes.
There was no mandate, though, for Labor in 2030, was there? It was a target.
Well, the thing is that the way that Labor does things, it's about taxes and it's about targets, and we're about technology. We've always been about let's unleash the private market capability to ensure that industry, research and development and government can partner together to offer commercialisable, scalable solutions that we can all buy. That's what we need to do. We need to get in there and become consumers. And so in the first half of this year, we've seen one of the fastest uptakes of electric vehicles in Australia's history. It's going to continue, and we need to make sure that we enable that to continue and to increase, offering choice and not mandating that choice, making sure that people have choices for their future and that they can go out and buy a low-cost option.
We're regrettably short on time today. I have to end it there. You said mandate. There was never a mandate by Labor, so I feel the need to say that at the end of the interview. But Katie Allen, thanks for your time today.
Thanks so much, Tom.